Hey guys, it's Riggs from Beers in the Lot. Welcome to episode 13. Before we get to episode 13, I just want to ask you guys to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app, and also follow us on all your favorite social media outlets at Beers in the Lot. Tonight, we're talking about a possible boxing matchup between George Laraque and Mike Tyson, goalie setups, the new reverse retro unis that the NHL is putting out, and NHL player styles, and the ever popular late nights in beer league. Welcome to episode 13.
I think we should do this thing. You ready for this?
Let's crack into them.
Ooh, that was the bottle.
Yep. I'm drinking straight out the bottle tonight.
Now tell me about your bottle opener though. I noticed that.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a hockey stick with a notch cut out of it. Opens up the bottles perfectly.
Is that pro stock?
What flex is that?
Yeah. Actually,
it's like a
buddy made
6-inch
it for
piece
me.
of stick.
It's a 102 flex, so
At this length, it's probably about 970 flex.
yeah, exactly.
Using a piece of Zdeno Chara's lumber over there. Well, enough about the opener. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Brooklyn lager. Decided it's lager season, even though it's like hot as shit outside. Now's lager season, all right, guys. Just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Second summer.
Yeah. What about you, John?
I am drinking the Field Notes Pale Ale from Flying Dog. And we were talking about it a little before. So they use hops grown at the University of Maryland that they do research on, and Flying Dog made a beer with them. But this is, I mean, you obviously can't see it, when you're listening to this later, but probably one of the cooler looking cans that Flying Dog ever did, just because it's a Maryland flag and it has a Flying Dog logo in there. And I'm a sucker for the Maryland stuff.
Yeah.
Got to take a second to give some props to the Maryland flag too. Definitely, like top 2 flag in the whole nation.
Well, and think about state flags in general. They're usually like solid color.
Yeah, they're normally pretty lame.
Crest. They're pretty lame.
Maryland's is on point though.
And speaking of Flying Dog, I have Flying Dog's Snake Dog IPA tonight. The old
what a transition!
House beer.
Look at this guy.
The old standby.
House
beer.
Yeah.
Aaron, what are you drinking there?
I ran out of my abolitionist ale works, so I'm back to the bush.
It's deer hunting season, so yeah, you're set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to get those camo cans.
Yeah, camo cans.
All right, what do we want to talk about first?
Let's talk about your game. Why you're so tired.
Yeah, we might be dragging tonight.
Danny and Aaron's
guys.
so tired.
We had a game last night in the patch, 10 p.m.
Yeah, 10 p.m. start. It's brutal.
Because you got to drink afterwards, right? So I think we ended up getting home around 1:30. I think we ended up getting home 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, I was getting into bed around 2.
Needless to say, a rough morning.
Pretty typical though.
Yeah,
not a rough game though.
No.
Daniel and I put the team on our backs.
We exercised the demons against a decent team. They had some decent skaters, and I had 2. Aaron had 2.
Deuces are wild.
I think the final was 5-3. It was a really good game.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
So
it was fun.
Yeah. We're tired of shit right now.
Yep.
Because of the parking lot festivities.
So as Eric and I didn't play last night, but I just want to chime in here. And maybe I'm being a troll like I generally am. So normally if we have an 8 o'clock game and you still get home at the same time, you're not as dog tired as you did when you had 10 o'clock game.
Yeah, it's true.
Just curious.
100%.
Just want to throw that out there. Because normally, we're kind of on the same timeline. A little bit.
Well, what's the rule, right? Nothing good happens after midnight.
That's right.
This is very true.
So as long as you've opened your last beer before the stroke of midnight,
11:59:59.
Yeah, then you're good.
You're in the clear.
Yeah.
I mean, it was sort of our fault a little bit because we did go to Taco Bell afterwards.
They got toasted cheddars back.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
they're good.
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't stop on the side of the road to like look at any.
Nope, I didn't stop to look at any
you didn't-
astronomical phenomenon.
It wasn't a meteor shower or
There's
Okay.
no meteor
comet
showers. Yeah,
or
Just
something
making
to,
sure.
to stop and then
interface with the local law enforcement. Yeah.
Get interviewed by the police.
Nope, none of that.
Aaron, you're gonna end up on like an episode of Forensic Files somehow because you're gonna see something. And you'd be like local.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be a witness.
Amateur astronomer.
Oh yeah.
Local amateur astronomer.
The case had gone cold until a local amateur astronomer came forward with new evidence. Yeah.
Oh my god.
This podcast is just going in so many directions.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let's talk about some hockey, like actual hockey. Who is it? What do you guys show me that George Laraque wants to fight Tyson?
Yeah, so we missed this last week. We should have talked about it last week. But so Tyson is gonna fight what's his face at the end of November. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
but
doesn't matter.
But Tyson's been posting all these.
Roy Jones?
Yeah, Roy Jones Jr.
Yep, and they're both at the end of their career, obviously.
Right, they're both well, like Tyson was
guys.
retired and he got out of shape, but now like he's posting all these videos of him training, and the guy looks like a war machine. Like he is just, I don't know. We were passing video clips back and forth the other day on the group text, and he is just like working with the sparring partner, and at one point like he's working the body, he's coming up top, and then the combination was supposed to be over and he just kept going, and his sparring partner's like, Mike, you gotta stop. Like he looks like an absolute animal right now. And so he's probably going to kill Roy Jones Jr. Right.
Yeah.
And so then I guess on Twitter or something, George Laraque, who's a retired NHL tough guy, was like, hey Mike, I'll fight you. You want to go?
To me.
So who would win?
I think
Tyson.
it's dumb to get in the ring with Tyson.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's not.
I think Roy
Tyson.
Jones is dumb for getting in the ring with Tyson.
Well, you got to remember,
Roy still got
Roy
the speed
Jones,
and the power, man.
Roy Jones is also a former professional fighter, so I think he knows what he's getting into.
Right.
He's smart enough. Laraque.
He's a former professional fighter.
Hey man,
well, you know,
you gotta. Those guys
get knocked around a little bit.
All those guys have a good idea what's going on when they get into the ring. But a guy like Laraque, like, and I said this on our group text too, like, so a long fight in the NHL is lasting a minute. Okay, that's a long scrap, and that even includes kind of when they're squaring up a little bit to the jersey lock to.
Yeah, there's a little bit of grappling usually.
Yeah.
It's not just punches the whole time, right?
Exactly.
You know. So
that's like a long fight's a minute. And normally you're probably going 20, 30 for a lot of NHL fights, probably, maybe 20, 30 seconds-ish.
Sure. That might even be long. Right?
That may, yeah. So George Laraque, you're telling me you can get in a ring and go rounds with
multiple
rounds.
Iron
Mike Tyson, Kid Dynamite. Like it
Kid
ain't happening. Kid Dynamite. It ain't happening. And also too with Tyson, I mean, it's the, you know, you could say whatever you want. Oh, Laraque played hockey, yada yada yada. Like Tyson's an athlete too. Those guys are very special. You know, they were able to play professional sports, you know, and do it to the very highest level. But like, it's almost like if Laraque was gonna go almost like, let's say Sidney Crosby, go, hey, I bet you I could pick corners backhand. Like it's almost like that. Yeah. Like you're essentially like Laraque is challenging Mike Tyson to what he essentially has done his whole career. He's like, hey, you want to box?
Arguably the greatest at.
Arguably the greatest. Yes.
Right.
Easily in the top 5.
Yeah.
Like without question.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, a few years ago, he was a little chubby, and he even kind of made a few jokes like, I don't want to like start training because I would just Mike Tyson was just saying his competitive juices are just so great. If he got into it again, he would become a psychopath and just want to train and do all that. Well, looking at him today, he got back into it. He looks like a psychopath again.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he like
So
and like Laraque, okay, when he was a fighter in the NHL, right? That's what his job was. His job was to be the enforcer type. He wasn't really getting meaningful minutes in the NHL. He was going out on the ice to send a message, right?
Settle
yeah.
scores,
And
yeah, intimidate.
and then, like you said, John, those fights are of a certain style, right? You have to fight a certain way when you're on skates and when you're on ice. You have to keep your feet underneath of you. So there's a whole strategy around that. And then it's how do I get this guy into a space where I can actually like punch him, many times.
Mhm.
And that takes a lot when you're moving around on the ice and all this stuff's going on. So now, hypothetically, he steps into the ring, right? On his feet in the ring, on the mat with Tyson, who I'm telling you, in those videos, he is punching with so much power and speed. He could end that fight at any moment. One punch, that would be the end of George Laraque.
I
That
would
would be it.
argue. I was going to bring up the fact that on ice you're fighting on skates and everything, and part of the skill in fighting in hockey is that you can stand up properly while you're grappling and throwing punches and getting punched. Like that's not easy. And I would also say that if they somehow got Tyson onto skates, that would even up the fight. that would
be
make
amazing.
it even.
What if they made it like a series? So they fight one. They have one fight in the ring, and they have one fight on the ice, and then and like give Tyson a chance to
Some
like
time
learn
to learn how to skate,
how
yeah.
to be on skates and do that whole thing, and then
Oh.
give George Laraque some time to learn how to like properly box in a ring.
Yeah.
Like maybe that would work.
The trouble with that though is that if you're fighting Tyson on the ice, like in a true hockey fight style, it's no gloves. I don't know that anybody
Yeah,
wants
I
to get in
still
front of a Tyson
That's what I'm
punch
saying, like,
with
Tyson-
no gloves.
and also the other thing with Tyson, I mean, George Laraque, if you think about it, all the NHL guys, the majority of their punches are kind of going a little over the top or a little underneath, like almost an uppercut.
A lot of
Tyson,
them, a lot of them are glancing blows, right?
Exactly.
There's very few times where an NHL fighter is going to connect with a right hook or
and when they do, it's down.
a
Like, that's
real
it.
uppercut or something.
yeah,
And
that's the other thing that's scary about a boxing match. Like Tyson could break his ribs before he even
Yeah.
hits his face.
yeah.
Just smash. I mean, you hear, I don't know if Mike Tyson's done it. I know Mayweather, he's broken his hand before just beating guys.
Mm,
Like, so imagine just the power, and they're wearing those 10 or 12-ounce gloves, whatever they are.
yeah.
And they're hitting so hard, they're breaking their own hand
Inside the
Be-
glove.
In
inside the
Yeah.
glove.
Gloves
Yeah.
that are
They keep-
designed to protect their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just beating the bag off.
You know what? I'm really digging
I
this
just-
idea. Like, let's get Tyson on
Get
the
Tyson
ice
on skates, yeah.
with George Laraque, and then have him go in the ring and have like a
Yeah, get somebody to coach the rock on
Traditional
footwork
boxing,
and
Alright,
that sort of
you know?
thing.
So who-
Get
alright.
somebody to coach Tyson
So-
on
So
skates.
my money is on Laraque on that one. Did you guys see the
Really?
video of Tyson on the hoverboard?
Yes. Yeah. Tyson. Okay. All right. So let's say straight boxing match. Let's not say Laraque. Current or former NHL player, we could even go in his heyday. Who would stand the best chance against Tyson?
Mm,
I think Chara, only because of the reach and the
No.
size.
not even.
Nah,
He's
Tony
not.
so,
Tony
yeah.
Twist?
I don't. He's.
Yeah.
I don't.
He's
think
spindly.
Chara's right, and I don't think he's right. He's not built for that, and I don't.
No.
I actually don't
I think
he's.
reach. I think reach.
No, it wouldn't matter because
So then who?
Tyson-
because
Tyson's a
Tyson
short guy.
is so quick,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he wants to fight inside.
Well, yeah,
right?
he's a boxer.
He's been
because
fighting
he's-
against
'cause
guys
he's a
with
little
better
bit
reach his whole
shorter.
career.
Exactly,
So then
and
who?
he has all that power,
Yeah.
right?
So then what NHL player would, even like we're saying in their heyday,
Maybe
subtract
one
if
of the
they're-
guys from like the 70s or something
Or
like that.
What
like,
about Probert?
I don't know. Yeah.
Probert?
I was
Bob
thinking
Probert,
What
Tony
about
Twist.
what about
Tony
Beauregard?
Twist. Yeah.
The Boogeyman.
Boogeyman,
Yeah,
Ooh.
Boogeyman.
or Ty Domi.
Ty
Domi,
Ooh.
perhaps.
Ty Domi,
Yeah.
just because he was crazy. I mean, he still is crazy. You
And
see interviews
and
with
actually,
him,
if you
but, like,
remember, Ty Domi too, he could eat punches, but he would also deliver a ton.
yeah,
He could.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
can
still,
also deliver.
yeah, he can also deliver. Bang. Yeah. I just
random
see,
references.
Yeah, random.
Yeah, I just see I see like Tyson still doing like the scene from The Hangover. Where he's making Laraque like sing Phil Collins, you know, clock him. Like that's almost how I see it. Like I just don't.
Hey, John, didn't somebody in your family meet Tyson?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Come on, you gotta tell that story.
So, and I showed you guys the photo. So my dad, when he was in Tyson's corner working down there, and I think it's Tyson's. It may have been
Not
DC,
Tyson's
but anyway,
corner in the ring.
Tyson's
Town,
corner,
but
yeah.
Tyson's
Yeah, not the
corner in
ring, but the
Virginia.
city
Virginia.
in
Tyson's
Northern
corner.
Virginia, right near Washington.
My
DC.
dad's
Yeah.
a boxing trainer. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. No, so it was either when he was.
That's when he met Tyson in his corner.
Yeah, it was either when my dad was. It was either when my dad was in DC or Tyson's. I can't remember off the top of my head. And this guy in front of him dropped his hat. So my dad was like maybe 10, 15 feet behind him. He picks up, grabs his hat, says, "Hey, you dropped your hat." And he said before he finished picking up this hat, this guy was like next to him, and it was Mike Tyson, face tattoo and all, and he was super cool. He got a
That's
picture with
awesome.
him, but yeah. And my dad also, you see just how thick Tyson is, kind of. But the other cool thing, my dad did some photography for the NFL for the Monday night game a few years ago when it was Steelers and Redskins, and the Steelers beat the wheels off the Redskins. So he
Weird.
has pictures. Yeah, he has
Yeah.
pictures of
Weird.
Oh,
James
you can't say
Harrison.
Redskins anymore.
Washington
Oh, sorry,
football
Washington
team.
football team. Washington football team. It was Ben, Antonio Brown when he was still a Steeler, and James Harrison. So those are pretty cool. That has photos with all those guys. So my
Nice.
dad has met more famous people than I have. But woo.
How about these? We've been seeing them on Twitter all day. These new retro uniforms, the retro
Hate 'em.
reverses or whatever.
Don't like 'em.
I'm
Hate them.
not a fan.
I'm just gonna
I
say it
don't know,
now.
man. First of all, the campaign's terrible. They have like, what are
Yeah.
they're posting like 1 million gifs or
Yeah, every
each
team
team.
posted their own.
of every team, and
Yeah.
they all look the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have different numbers on the back of the jersey that they're showing. That's for the year that the reverse retro uniform is from for the respective team. And then they have, it's brightly colored. So, like, I don't know. I saw.
Looks like the theme to Casino Royale. Like the
Yeah,
intro.
But it's
yeah,
not-
it does.
It's
yes,
not cool
it
like
does.
Casino Royale.
It
Yeah.
does. It doesn't have cool music and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not Chris Cornell. It's not nearly as good.
No, no.
But see, I think it's kind of funny. The same, it's the same week we were talking about NHL goalie pads because Lundqvist, who throughout the course of his NHL career has done a good job doing his design for his goalie pads. When he was in New York, he had the Empire State Building and I know Lady of Liberty, on his pads or his bucket, a few times. And we were talking about how the goalie masks, I think at this point, every NHL goalie does a good job. They all look pretty cool. I like them. There's a little personality in them all. But the
Absolutely.
goalie pads, like there are some goalies that still have these lame freaking goalie pads. I can't stand it. Like I want to see some cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he posted his new ones because he's with Washington now, right? And
Yeah.
he's got the Weagle logo,
I love that.
split
Uh,
split in between the two pads. It looks really cool. Like I
Yeah.
think that's it in goalie terms. That's a great setup.
Yeah.
So,
Goalie
so I'm not a goalie, and so like it's yeah, it looks really cool, and like I agree. Like most goalies in the league, they might take advantage of the graphic designs on the different manufacturers' pads, but they only do it in like, 2 or 3 colors at most. And with very few like customized designs like what Hank's gonna have.
Right.
So
Well, yeah, and you see more like college, like NCAA kids, or
Yeah,
like Quebec
yeah.
major, like the Canadian Hockey League kids, they'll get a little crazy with it.
yeah.
And I love that. I think it's just I'm not this is maybe the traditionalist in me to some extent. Like I don't want like a few years was it last year or the year before when they did the stadium series for the Penguins Flyers and they had those massive decals on the helmets. Was not a fan of that. It was too football. I was not a fan of it. And even Colorado and who'd Colorado play in the stadium series? LA.
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 LA,
I like
yeah.
the fact LA had those silver buckets. Those were awesome. I didn't like the big kind of king logo on it. Nah, it's different. I mean, if
Yeah,
they
I
were
don't know,
wearing them,
man. The chrome
full
buckets
game.
though,
I
like,
like that. It's different.
it was
But
it
like
was a
if you're
bit
a
much.
if you're a goalie, I want to see like I was making a joke. If you're Marc-Andre Fleury, maybe you will be with the Vegas Knights. Moving forward to Robert Leonard. I want to see like Sam Eighths Rothstein from Casino on your goalie pads. That's what I want to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Casino
Like,
movie themed goalie pads,
yeah,
man. That would be awesome in Vegas.
if you're Carter Hart, if you put gritty on your goalie pads, stellar move. Stellar
Can you
Or
move.
Rocky.
imagine you're on a
Or Rocky.
That'd
breakaway
be Rocky.
and he's just
And
got
you're
his
staring at gritty.
He's staring at gritty.
He's just staring
Like,
down Gritty.
all right, I gotta find a hole. I can't concentrate with this guy just staring at me.
Yeah.
This scumbag just
This
piercing my
scumbag,
soul.
this cokehead scumbag mascot, Gritty.
Yeah. I mean, if you're, yeah, I mean, I was making some jokes like about what goalies should do, and some of them were tasteful, some weren't, so I won't go into them. But that's what I'm saying. I think I don't know if it's NHL goalies just trying to either stay kind of on course with, oh, this is the way we do it, or some are just like, I literally could care less about what those look like. I have them, I know they want white or black or whatever because that's what they've always had, and they're going to leave it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I don't dig too deep into
Well,
it.
I think about it too, like in a larger sense in the league. What all the stories that we kind of fixate on and we're most entertained by are when the players show their personalities,
Yep.
and that's a great way for them to show their personalities, right?
Yeah,
like
goalies have the luxury of being able to do that. Yeah.
right. They have a lot of different equipment that they can personalize to them, right? And kind of project what they want to be known as. I mean, they already do it with their masks, like John said.
Yeah.
And they put all kinds of stuff on. Like if they had a coach that was from a particular country, they might have their flag on there. They'll have their kids'
Yep.
names or even their
Right.
kids' pictures and all kinds of different things.
And let's face it, goalies are the most likely to be kind of weird because most goalies
Yes.
are kind of weird.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
they've got a lot of personality for most part.
But
to
also,
show, so.
but also too, like and we all kind of grew up in the era, like Curtis Joseph, he had the dog on his mask.
Yeah,
it was
Cujo,
cool,
man.
and
Yeah.
everywhere
Cujo,
he
yeah.
went, and
Yeah.
everywhere he went, it was color scheme to it. It looked
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Ben Bishop, he always had kind of the lightning bolt thing.
Yeah.
When everywhere he went, I liked that. Trying to think some other ones. John Van Beesbrook, he always has
Beezer,
a few
yeah.
Bs. Yeah, I thought it
Bel-
was
Yeah,
I thought
dog
Belfour.
ones, yeah.
Belfour
Eddie
had
the
Eddie
Eagle.
the Eagle. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Dominic Hasek had that Milik helmet he was wearing for a million years. I mean,
Like a
but
player helmet with a weird cage on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Street hockey helmet.
yeah, straight. But actually, when he was in Detroit and Ottawa, he actually put like the team logo on it. Probably because he was just
Yeah.
getting yelled at.
Was
Yeah, but
was Airbay the one with the weird like? Didn't he have like the helmet with like?
Yeah, he
The
had
cage
he had
on the
like the
front?
Jofa helmet with
Yeah.
cage. And he
Yeah,
would
same
switch
as
his goalie
Airbay,
pads.
Yeah.
Same as the Dominator, man.
Yeah.
Hasek and him and
Richter had some pretty
Osgood.
good helmet art.
Yeah, he had the Lady
Yeah.
Liberty on it.
yeah, he always
Yeah.
had the New York theme
Yep.
going on,
Yeah.
like really cool.
Johan Hedberg had the moose. That was always cool.
Moose.
I like that. I'm trying to think. Who else? Ole Kolzig had the Zilla.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, Godzilla. I always like that. That was pretty cool. I'm trying to think of if there's
in
any.
the basement there. Yeah.
I can't think of any other, like Jamie McClellan, and this is because it's me. He always had Kiss on his helmet. I was a big fan of that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that I'm trying. Those are like the only ones, at least from growing up, that.
But
like,
it's just cool, like
out.
that they can actually like show that style, right? And
right,
and that's where we derive the most entertainment, I think, out of the league. A lot of times is when we get to see that, when they had the 24/7 series on HBO for the Winter Classics, right? And they had that behind the scenes sort of access to the players and how they live. That kind of stuff is the most entertaining thing about individual players in the league.
And I remember the coolest thing, because I remember the first year they did it, it was Caps Pens Winter Classic. And I remember Danny, Aaron, and I watched it. And afterwards, we did not talk about like the on ice or the practice thing. It was more like,
hey, like, this guy does this. Like, it was all
Mike
about the
Green
quiz.
rides a Vespa to practice.
Hey, did you see Bruce Boudreau? He went to Buffalo Wild Wings before. I mean, it was always, and even then you get, further on in the 24/7s, it was like, when they did the New York Rangers and John Tortorella, you realized he was like, the players love him, but he's a hard ass. But then you also, after that, you kind of realize like, man, those New York guys look so freaking cool in New York somehow. They just like, there's something about that team when you watch it, like they're very New York without trying. I mean, they just were like, they all had sunglasses on when they got on and off the plane. It was team just culture. It was cool.
Apparently wearing sunglasses everywhere makes you
New York.
Very New York.
I mean,
very New York.
I've been to the city twice.
They all ate apples and they were oversized.
No. But you could tell, like, but I'm saying, like, they were very fashion conscious. Like they they always were.
They had a look to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They always had like the quintessential sort of New York walking around town outfit. Yeah.
And their pea coats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Styling.
So you guys are for the artwork on the goalie helmets. How do you feel about what if the players started doing that with their skates? Nope. I know some guys wanted to do it with their blade holders.
A lot of the manufacturers are allowing like customized boots too now, right?
Yeah. And you can change up the colors a little bit.
So
and I don't mind that.
I kind of look at it. I mean, if you look at baseball and football, they already do that, right?
Yeah.
To a certain extent. I think there's some rules around that because the leagues only allow certain manufacturers and brands and whatever, but I'm fine. Like whatever, man. There's too much, like, I think the leagues, I understand why, because they do have business agreements with these other corporations for those brands and marketing and whatever. But at the same time, if a kid sees, whatever player wearing these skates and they have these designs on them and stuff, guess what they're going to want to buy?
Mm-hmm.
How many kids wear yellow laces?
I was about to
say.
Explosion in yellow laces.
Yager
Yager did it first. Ovechkin kicked it into overdrive.
Right. So, or even the brands, like you'll see people switch brands because
their favorite pro does or whatever.
Right. Like Ovechkin came in, he was CCM, then he went Bauer, then he went back to CCM. Matthews was Bauer, now he's CCM, and I see it like with the kids that we coach, they'll be there 1 year because they grow so fast anyway, they got to get new equipment, but they'll be there 1 year and they're in all Bauer stuff, and it looks like the same stuff that like Ovechkin has, and then the next year it's like only the CCM stuff because that's what he's wearing,
Well, and I think too, like when we were growing up, like if you were buying hockey gloves or pants, for example, you can only get black gloves or black gloves with a white cuff. And now I think part of it's part of it's also the company is realizing, hey man, our consumers, probably want something a little different.
Yeah.
And then also I think NHL teams have a big part of that. Like Ovi wears red, white, and blue. So hey, I got an idea. Let's start making red, white, and blue stuff. The Penguins a few years ago, when they switched to the 90s era style color cuff, where it's a black glove with a white cuff, which looks cool, but I mean, for the most part, it's pretty traditional if you think about it. Now, how many manufacturers are making that style again?
They all make, they all make it, and they all make it in retail models. It's not even just the pro stock stuff. It's in all of their, like, from their entry level all the way up, because they know, like, a kid, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, whatever, they're going to see their favorite Pittsburgh Stars wearing that style, and they're going to want it. And they're going to go to their parents and say, I want new gloves, but I want it to look like that.
Right.
And
yep.
That's how it works.
All right. So I was going to conduct a little informal poll so that our listeners at home could mimic their favorite podcasters' gear setups here. What kind of skates? I wear CCM skates. What kind of skates do you guys wear? I have a feeling that everybody's Bauer except for me now.
Bauer.
Bauer.
Correct.
Yep. Everybody's Bauer but me.
But I don't know if we want to go down this rabbit hole. But
if it's gear, I could talk for days.
I know. I started. That's the problem. That's why I was like, I don't know about this. But I started in CCM. And the reason why I started in CCM was because when I started ice skating, because I started on rollerblades, right? Like a lot of kids in America.
Mm-hmm.
When I started ice skating and then playing ice hockey, the first pair of skates that I got were CCM tacks. But at that time, the all black tacks were the rage. Like all the kids, at least around us, wanted the all black tacks because it had black holder.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
So it was like, you got to get the all black.
Had black holders.
You got to get the all black tacks because it has the black holder, right? So that's what I had, and I had that until first year of college, I think, and I actually broke the black holder going through the gauntlet in practice in college. Getting hit.
What's the name of that CCM holder, the tax holders?
It was the Pro Holder 3.
No,
Pro Light 3.
Pro Light 3.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But light was spelled L-I-T-E, like Miller Lite.
But now, if you measure it compared to like anything else, it would read Bud Heavy.
Exactly.
Holder.
Yeah. It was all light.
Well, Aaron, you were in CCMs almost your entire life. You had like one pair of Eastons, right?
Correct.
You wore for like a day, right?
Yeah, I've got a pair of Z Airs that I wear when my other skates are broke. So never.
No. And then Danny, what about you? What were you wearing?
Oh, I've worn. I
bounced around, right?
CCMs.
He's had like 17 pairs of skates in the last 10 years.
I had a pair of Missions. I had a pair of Eastons.
Did your Missions have that?
I had
stupid little thing in the holder that made it impossible to sharpen.
That plastic.
Oh, that stupid
little plastic bar.
Yeah. For the random time that happens once every 1,000 games where somebody gets their stick in between your skate and trips you. Like, you got to stop that. Never mind that you have to sharpen the damn things every
I know.
often, but
you had to put it on a figure skating jig to sharpen it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I also had a pair of Graphs too.
Okay.
I've had pretty much all the brands.
You had the rainbow essentially at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was
his next pair will be Trues.
I
thought about it.
I was.
Of course you did.
I was all CCM.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
All CCM growing up, and then I switched to Graph for quite a few years. I just liked the way it fit my foot. It was very comfortable, and Then I always, when I have my Grafts, I always put a Bauer holder on it because I was bougie. And then
Because Bauer has always had the best holder.
Yeah, it's the most convenient, good steel, so I don't mind it. And then I switched to the last couple of pairs have been Bauers. I've been a Bauer boy. So, and mainly because Graf went out of business. R.I.P. So that's why. That's why.
If CCM went out of business, I'd probably wear Bauers.
CCM ain't going out of business. They got McDavid, Sidney, Ovi, and McKinnon.
That's the brand of the NHL now.
Yeah, they have the 4 horsemen. Get out of here. They ain't going anywhere. And that wraps it up for this week. Thank you for listening to episode 13. We really appreciate it. Please remember to subscribe, rate, review on your favorite podcatcher app, and we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks again.